Hi, this is Reverend Ken. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and share our video and comment on the video. It will mean a great deal to us. It will help spread our message out to a wider audience. So again, be sure to like us, to make a comment about us, or to share it with all your friends. It will do a great deal of good. Thank you so much. To begin our service, let's have a reading. Today I'm using my book, Whispers of Heaven. And in it I wrote, I know my good is at hand. I see this good in persons, places, and things. Nothing but goodness can come from me and return to me. So let's put these words of wisdom to work in our lives. We can do it through affirmative prayer. I'm going to do this prayer in the first person. Take it in for yourself. If I say something that worked for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, well, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me today. There is but one God, one mind, and one power. And this power is perfect love, it's divine intelligence. And this power is flowing through me, with me, and for me. It is lifting me up to have a greater understanding. It is showing me the whole picture of life. So today I can turn loose of my fears and doubts and worries. I know that I have a partner in life, and this partner is divine love. It is with me, and it is showing me a greater way to live in more love, joy, and happiness. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. My talk title today is The Wholeness of God. In Scripture it says we see our lives through a glass darkly. And it means that we only understand part of what's going on. We're missing pieces. Life is a mystery. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said that at a certain distance, when we look back at our lives, everything seems to have fit in its perfect place. Even those things that we think are mistakes or tragedies. One day, we will see the entire picture, and I think we're going to be surprised by it. In Scripture, it also says that on that day of clarity, that every low place shall be made high, and every high place shall be made low. I interpret this as we really don't know what's important in our lives. You know, when I think of my life and when I talk with family and friends and we're reminiscing and we talk about the important things that happen to us, it's often not the days that you would think would be important, the graduations or the weddings or birthday parties. Oftentimes it's the accidental conversations you had while going to the store or learning how to make mom's biscuits or fishing with granddad. Those are the important moments. We often don't realize what's vital and needed and necessary. During college, I worked my way through college working nights at a psychiatric hospital. I actually had to show my mom the pay stub to convince her that I wasn't an outpatient, that I was actually getting paid to do it. And it was a good job to have as a college student because I could study through most of the night. But one down part was that at 6 o'clock, the psychiatrist would come on the ward and they would want us to go around with them as they looked in the rooms of their patients. And we would have to chart that it was a doctor's visit for the patients, even though the patients were still asleep. Now, for some reason, I think because the psychiatrist often didn't have people to talk to, they would start having sort of intimate conversations with us, even though I was much younger than them. And they would share with me the cars that they were buying, the boats they were buying, the vacations. And it seemed kind of inappropriate, but they needed to talk. When the psychiatrists were on the ward, they of course were treated as the most important people there. We really gave them such value. But you know, now looking back on that experience, I realized that they actually weren't the most important person there. They weren't the ones that were doing the most good. And actually, the person that I think really helped the most was an orderly like me. He was a good bit older than I was. Actually, he probably was about my age that I am now. He was just an orderly. He had to take 2 buses to get to the hospital. He had a physical disability, and so he walked with a pronounced limp. But he had a great deal of compassion and kindness, and he was also very wise. And the patients would stay up just to have the chance to talk to him a little bit. He was doing the most good in that hospital. We don't really have a clear understanding of where we are in life. We get too caught up in the moment. At present, we certainly don't have a clear understanding. There's too much turmoil going on around us. We have the virus with us now for far too long. I get calls almost every week with people asking me, when are we going to go back to having in-person services? And I understand that they have a need and a desire to want to know, when can we get back to life? And I don't have an answer. And then, of course, we have the turmoil that's going on in our cities, the riots. We have the hurricane that came through last week. And for me, something that was very upsetting was the shooting of this young man in Wisconsin, where police officers who are hired to protect us shot a man in the back 7 times. I, for the life of me, can't make sense of it. But my faith tells me that I have to keep my eyes fixed to true north. And true north is that God is love, we're created from God, and we are created to experience the goodness and the glory of God made manifest through us. Regardless of what the appearances are, the goodness of God will shine through. Appearances are just shadows of the truth. They have no power except that power which we give them. We are here to keep our eyes on the prize and to keep moving forward. Don't allow yourself to get discouraged. Don't allow yourself to be dismayed. Know that you have a compass within you that will lead you home. Dr. Holmes says we are all going to get there. No, not one of us shall be missing. And we have a guidance system within our souls that will help us if we will look for it. We're here to be in partnership with God. And through your intuition, you can get valuable wisdom for how to proceed in life. You know, last week I told you that I had gone and got lab work done. Well, this week I had to do something equally unenjoyable for me, and that was to go to the doctor to get an analysis of the lab work. Now, for some reason or other, I don't get along with doctors very well. I think it's because I insist on listening to my intuition to know what's right for my body. And I have had doctors get red-faced angry with me because I did insist upon that. Fortunately, I found a doctor's assistant who is willing to work with me. She's a lovely and brilliant young woman, and she doesn't have such an overgrown ego that she gets offended when I insist on knowing what's right for me. In fact, we've kind of made a joke of it. Now, she's a very healthy young person. She probably has 0% body fat. She, every once in a while, will recommend to me recipes. The other day, she was telling me about a recipe that she only fixes occasionally when she wants to be a little naughty. And the recipe was for steamed carrots with cinnamon and local organic honey. I told her that I wouldn't want that when I was feeling naughty. I'd want that after being naughty as punishment. Not Jerry Falwell type naughty, but naughty nonetheless. Now, I was almost out of the office, and she looked over the chart and she realized that I was due to have the next shingles vaccine. I'd had it 6 months ago, and it made me really feel not so great. And so I was reluctant to have it again, but there was something in my intuition telling me that, yeah, I probably needed to go ahead and do it. So she gave me the shot, and sure enough, the next day, I wasn't feeling so great. And it was also the day that I needed to start working on this talk. So I sat down with my books by Dr. Holmes. I did my prayer work, I did my meditation, and I said, all right, Ernie, that's what I called Dr. Holmes, you got to help me out here. I need some inspiration. So I opened up one of the books, and this is what I read. He said, we will all come to a fleeting moment when we have our inward vision opens up, and we will see a newer and broader horizon, and we will know a better something for ourselves. I'm in need of a newer and broader horizon right now. Our community needs it. Our nation needs it. And for me, this newer and broader horizon is to have more faith, to know that there's a power I can turn my worries and fears over to stand firm by the still waters in the goodness and the power of God, to know that we're not here alone and we're not here helpless, that we have a power we can use, and that's affirmative prayer. And that with prayer, we can make a change in the world. Right now, at this stage of my life, I love my prayer work. I often will wake up in the middle of the night, and before, when I would do that, I would get angry because I was worried I wasn't getting enough sleep. Now what I do is I start doing my prayer work. I start going through my life and doing prayers for people that I think need. I told you a couple of weeks ago that one of our neighbors had put up some political signs. One of them that she put up recently said, "Stay stupid and vote for so-and-so." Now, I really actually like this neighbor. She's a lovely person. So I've included her in my prayers. I include her in my prayers that some of the fear she has dissipates, because that's really what that's coming from. That's coming from fear. And sure enough, a couple of weeks ago, she had mowed her lawn, she had taken the sign up, she had put it by the side of the house, and she didn't reinstall it. She left it at the side of the house. It's a small change, but it's a change nonetheless. It is for us to rely on the power of prayers. I also love what we're doing on Sunday mornings. We have a virtual Sunday service at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go see below information on how you can link into that. And at this service, we encourage people to say prayers for themselves. And it's very powerful. Helen Keller, she wrote that she believed that every time a prayer is said, some good happens in the world. And I believe that as well. There's power in our prayers in quiet moments, but there's also great power when we speak them out loud. Jesus said where two or more are gathered. And if we're going to overcome these challenging times, we're going to need prayer. So I was working on my talk, even though I wasn't feeling that good, and it just wasn't coming together. Something was missing. There wasn't much inspiration. So after trying for an hour or two, I decided just to give it a break, to walk away from it, and I sat down and I turned the television on. And as I turned the TV on, I saw the family of Jacob Blake, the young man who was shot in Wisconsin, and they were coming to speak to the press. The first thing they did was to bring forth their minister to give a prayer for the healing of our nation. After he spoke, the father stepped up, and the father explained that they were a large and diverse family, and that he wanted to say a prayer for his faith, which was Islamic. And he did a prayer in Arabic. Now, I didn't understand his prayer, of course, but I understood the emotion behind his prayer. And you know what? Both prayers were powerful, and neither prayer took anything away from the other. After he spoke, the mother came forward, and she asked for the nation to do prayers for her son. And she also volunteered that she was doing prayers for our nation. She said that even she and the police officer who was guarding her son in the hospital room, that they were doing prayers together. She begged the community to stop the violence, that shouldn't be done in her son's name. Now, this is a person who's keeping her eyes on God, even when her heart has been torn asunder. The Apostle Paul said that that which is perfect shall remain, and that which is earthly will fade away. Her love of her son, her love of God, her faith in humanity is keeping her heart perfect. Now we're at this place of evolution where we're going through a period of great confusion. But even in this place, there's also great potential for changes, for more love, for more joy, for more happiness, an understanding of who we are and whose we are. So keep your eyes on God's love and keep moving on. A better day is coming. Dr. Holmes says we're not really waiting on God. God is waiting on us. Waiting on us to cast aside our shackles of fear and doubt. He went on to say all of nature awaits our recognition, and that even the divine spirit must await our cooperation with it. So in this moment of turmoil and confusion and fear, God is calling on us to know something better for ourselves, better for each other, better for our nation, and better for the world. It's what we've been called to do, and we're the people to do it. One heart at a time, one soul at a time, and one prayer at a time. Now is our moment to step up into our power, to know what we've come to do and that we can do it, to create a new heaven and a new earth through our love, our joy, our compassion. Spirit is calling on us. We're up to the task. We're able to make it happen. It's the truth in your life today. It's the truth in mine, and so it is.
Tell me your legends, I'll tell you your future, of fictional, factual things. Feed me your fables, your heroic tales, I'll give them life and wings. Do it, now they are waiting in times not on your side. Life comes to those who are willing, not those who just run and hide. Those who just run and hide. All right. Creatures of habit and creatures of comfort, that's all there is, it seems. Boastfully building the future we're telling, a mountain of technical things. Well, you were built like the phoenix to rise back to the top. You don't have to know who you are, you just have to know who you're not. You have to know who you're not. Talk to me now, come sit beside me, I am your willing ear. Drop all the troubles right down to the floor, they don't define you here. You were built like the phoenix to rise back to the top. You don't have to know who you are, you just have to know who you're not. You have to know who you're not. All right. Tell me your legend, I'll tell you your future, of fictional, factual things.
So let us end our service with a final prayer. Join with me in knowing this truth. There is but one God, one mind, and one power. And this power is perfect love, it's divine intelligence. It is flowing through me, with me, and for me. Here today, I choose to know something better for myself. Here today, I choose to know myself as perfect, whole, and complete in God's plan for a perfect and whole life. Here today, I turn loose of every doubt, of every fear, and every worry. I've played with those small ideas long enough. I now choose to see myself as God sees me, and I move out into my world with kindness and compassion. I choose to be courageous in my love and my joy. And I know Spirit is forever lifting me up to a greater knowing, a greater life, and a greater being. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, know this last truth with me. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job this week is to go name your miracle, to proclaim your miracle, and to make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God has called us to be. Until we see each other again, this is Reverend Ken. Many blessings.